So late last week, I did a video where I answered some non-scenario, non-very specific, in-depth questions that you guys have had for me. Some of these were comments that maybe guild members have asked, in Discord or in the guild, hey, you should do a video on this or you should talk about that. A couple of these things were actually messages that you guys have sent me personally. And then a few were comments that you've either left or actually questions that you asked on some of my videos. And it was a whole lot of fun for me. And I think that you guys seem to enjoy it. The only issue is now there's a few follow-up questions, a few follow-up comments, and I wanted to touch on them very quickly, in air quotes, quickly, like we did with the last video. So the first question, or really more of a discussion here, from one of my guild members, Jim, a good friend of mine, who asked, in a roundabout way, why is my user interface always changing? Why am I always adjusting it? Do I have character and spec specific profiles for, obviously what I'm using is LVUI, and I've done a video on that. No, I don't want to say indecisive when it comes to user interfaces. I am a UI whore. I love looking at them. I love changing mine around. I like adjusting things, trying to find that perfect balance of information that's readily accessible without my play field, my vision being crammed with too much or, and some points, too little information to where I can't figure out what's going on because there are numbers flying everywhere or I don't have that data readily accessible. So that's why I'm fairly consistently changing my user interface, tweaking it. I may get some inspiration or something from the MMO champion forums or, whatever it may be. I may see something on the WoW UI subreddit or something in Discord or, whatever. I might see a video. I'm like, wow, that really seems conducive to raid leading. Well, it may, but maybe not raid leading and healing. Maybe not raid leading and DPSing. Maybe not doing something on, an alt character. And I'm like, wow, I need to take a step back and reevaluate. So, Jim, that's why everything keeps changing, because I can't decide what I like. So, second one here is actually a comment from DD Purist. He had asked in the last video that we did, hey, is it worth it in 2018? Being a guy that's never played World of Warcraft, for me to get into it. I don't have a huge gaming budget, so it's not like I can, go spend a ton of money on, all these games. Should I try WoW? My short answer was, if you're interested in the MMO RPG genre, and you are okay with the leveling changes that I detailed with patch 7.3.5, which came out last week, then go for it. He responded, he said, thank you, I believe I'm going to try and play because a level change sounds good. And awesome. Cool. If we can get some new blood into this game, that's awesome. If you or maybe someone in your position that is new to this game has questions, feel free to leave them in the comment section below and message me and all that stuff. Like I said before in the last video, in videos before this where I've answered more in-depth specific questions for you guys, I really love doing this. Third one here from Daniel Cornella, who has asked several questions, been very involved with the channel and with my guild in general. What are you rating? What is your main for rating? Former raider of mine, what are you currently maining for rating? I answered him and I'll answer it to you guys. At this point, I don't know. We've talked several times now about me as the guild leader and the raid leader filling holes, which we're going to get to that here in a second. It sounds dirty. But we've had an issue where, for one reason or another, people have either wanted to fill positions that were already filled, i.e. I had a raider come to me and say, hey, I'd really like to try tanking. You're currently our tank. Can we swap spots? And I did just that. We had an issue where we didn't have healers. We were missing a healer because someone took a break. I filled in that spot, etc. So what am I rating right now? 50-50 a Shadow Priest and a Resto Shaman. I will be honest with you guys. as much as I am willing and okay with filling in the holes within the raid group, at the same time, it's super frustrating because I know that while I'm a decent player, I'm not amazing. I'm an okay player, I guess. In the comment section below, you guys can be like, oh, you fucking suck. I'm okay, whatever. But I am a detriment because I don't have, the last tier set on my priest because I didn't play it. I played it once Antorus came out because we had healers. And so I wanted somebody that could do both. And we talked about that in the last video. Something that could do at least 2 roles if need be. I could fill in for a night. Well, a night turned into a week, turned into 2 weeks, etc. So I know I'm a detriment, and it's super frustrating. It is super frustrating to start to get into a spec, i.e. You have 4 healers and 22 people in your raid, and all the healers are happy healing. And so you're really getting into playing a DPSer again, playing a Shadow Priest, really getting into it, and all of a sudden you lose a healer. Well, shit, it's frustrating. And I've been vocal with my officers on it that it's frustrating. I've been vocal a little bit here that it's frustrating on YouTube. It's one of those things that's very aggravating because, and we're going to get to this topic in a second, but just, the holes that happen to pop up within a raid group, and it's a little bit exhausting to try to fill them consistently and constantly. But that's what I'm trying to do is find a healer. We may have one, but find a healer that can stick around and let me DPS. And I've told one of my officers who is in control, I have designated him as the healing officer. If you need me to heal, if you want me to stick on, whatever character and heal, just say the word. And, we had a very frank discussion 2 times where I said, look, if you need this, let me know. So we'll see what happens. Now for the big one. And this one, I think, is going to take the lion's share of this video from one of you guys, Hannah, Eli, Egan. And Hannah, please let me know. If I'm saying your name wrong, please let me know. And I'm assuming, and again, no offense, I'm assuming a female. So again, if that's wrong too, just call me a double dumbass. And just call me stupid in the comment section below, and I'll thumbs up it. But she says, hopefully thanks for the response to all my bizarre questions. They weren't really that bizarre. LOL, I'm former military. Awesome. She says, I'm former military also. My comment to that was awesome. Hopefully Marine Corps. But if not, I'll forgive you. And despite the fact that I've been a cop for 15 years, awesome. Thank you. My brain works in a strangely analytical manner. I enjoy your responses. Cool. Thank you. I enjoy your questions. My brain working the way it does, I now have some follow-up questions. By all means, ask them. If any of these cross the line, feel free to give me a theoretical head slap. Doubtful that this is going to happen. I want to be transparent with you guys. So if you guys have legit rating, guild leading, player, World of Warcraft in general questions, I'm going to try to answer them to the best of my ability. So don't think that, if you want to talk about like my family and my son and, okay, that's probably crossing the line. But if you have something about my guild, my success and my many failures, I'll talk about it. So feel free to give me a head slap. So with the turnover, it seems you experience, I'm sure you've asked yourself why. Yes, I have. It's pretty consistently. It is heartbreaking in general, at least for me. I've been doing this thing for February will be 11 years, doing the whole guild thing. Same guild for 11 years. Holy shit. And yeah, every single loss that we take, where somebody leaves or cannot raid, it makes me feel like crap. So have I asked myself why? Absolutely. Have I asked myself why people are leaving? Absolutely. Is it the notorious Mythic Plus requirement? I don't think so. Truth be told, and I know some of you guys disagreed with my comments and in general my guild's decision and rule to to institute this Mythic Plus requirement. However, that being said, I want to be clear here about two things when it comes to this requirement for my guild as far as rating. One is that the guild, it was not a leadership decision. It wasn't me. It wasn't, the rest of my two officers. The guild said, hey, we really want this. And the reason for it was at the time, and this was beginning of Nighthold, I think. And I think almost all guilds that are not super hardcore Mythic have this issue. And hell, maybe even some of those guys do. We had a couple of lazy players. We had a couple of lazy raiders that did the very bare minimum, and they were a detriment. They were bringing the raid down. So it was a guild's decision, and we have asked, and when I say we, the guild leadership, have asked and put this requirement in the air and said, do we really want it? Democratic vote. Everybody gets a vote, and the overwhelming majority, like 90-some% of the guild said, and when I say 90%, I mean, you're looking at like 2 people that didn't want it, or at least wanted to tweak it, wanted to continue this. So it's not me pushing it. It's not my officers pushing it. And the guild overall is very happy with this requirement. The second one here, and kind of touched on it with the first one, is when I talked about some of my raiders not appreciating, not fully committing to, not accepting, not liking, simply put, not liking this requirement to do a Mythic Plus in order to be prioritized for gear. It was a couple. It was girlfriend and boyfriend that didn't like it. And the reason why they didn't like it is because they were the only 2 in the guild that did not do Mythic Plus at all. Now, the good thing about talking about it here, and I don't know if they watch my videos. I honestly don't think that they do. I know that their friend, I think, watches a couple of them. He's the one that kind of recruited them into the guild. He may be telling them this, and it's nothing that I wouldn't tell them to their face. Good news about it is because of the discussion, and some of it was not productive. Some of it was just them being turds. Some of it was us just being turds, in general. But there was a legit back and forth where we looked at the merit behind it. And, I did some thinking about how we want to give out loot in this Mythic Plus. And my officers did some thinking, and I did a video about that. And those guys didn't agree on it. And they went back and forth very tactfully. And we all discussed it. And it was a thing that went on for a few days. But now these guys, these 2, boyfriend and girlfriend, are now doing Mythic Plus. And you can tell that they've improved slightly because of it. Gear-wise, just in general, artifact power and all that stuff. But just gameplay-wise, they've gotten a little bit better. So I don't think it's a Mythic Plus requirement. I'm trying to find my place here. Is it the inability, and this is again Hannah's question, is it the inability to mesh with the group? No, not really. Very few, if any, people have a hard time meshing with our group because we're pretty chill. I live by the philosophy that I spent my 8 years in the Marine Corps. If I want to yell, if I want to pound my chest when it comes to being a leader, I would join the Marine Corps and become a drill instructor. But I don't want to do that, and I shouldn't have to do it when I'm playing a video game. Instead, there are better ways to handle it. Now, I'm not saying that I haven't gotten shitty. I'm not saying that I haven't, cracked it down and said, hey guys, we're doing this, with the loud boistering voice in Discord or Ventrilo or whatever we used at the time. But no, in general, everybody meshes with the group just fine. Is it just poor timing of life events? That right there, I think, is the majority of our issue. Is my guild functions on the mentality that life comes before raiding. It's something that I support, and I'm not looking to be a world first guild, a server first guild. I want to kill things on heroic and preferably mythic difficulty. That's my goal as a raider in general, as a raid leader and as a guild leader. That's what I want. But I also acknowledge, I have a son. I have a job. I have a job that I've been a part of for a decade now. People are married and have boyfriends and girlfriends, like we just talked about, anniversaries and birthdays and all this stuff that goes on outside of raids. And sometimes it bleeds into raids where you're stuck at work late. We have a guy that knows he's going to be late tomorrow because he's stuck working on a project at work. We had a guy the other week, one of our healers, one of my officers who, he was working and his whole data center crashed. Well, he had to help rebuild it. Things like this. And that is the vast majority of our issue, is life, just life in general. And I think that we could probably, if need be, we could probably drop a person. If we said, okay, one of my, in this instance where one of my officers who is one of my healers isn't able to make it tonight. So we could not invite a couple more people, reduce the size of the raid, probably be more successful than straining our healers to their breaking point, having somebody get on an alt and try to, get one more kill before the end of the night, etc. But in general, it's just life events. We've had, like I said, work and birthdays, and one of my raiders, they're out this entire week because they had a death in the family. And, it's just life. We have guys that schedules have changed. One of them, his schedule changed and he had to stop raiding. Fortunately, and he's a very close friend of mine, he had his schedule changed at the beginning of the year, and now he's able to raid again. And it's awesome. I'm really glad that he's here. It's just life's kicking us in the ass. What do I think it is? I think it's life. What strategies have you thought of for not only recruitment, as Hannah continues, but also for retaining new people once you have them? So as far as retention goes, what I like to do, and I've mentioned this before, but what I really like to do with new people is when we bring them in, we kind of give them the spiel. Hey, look, here are our rate times, here are our rate days. If you need anything, let me know. Here are my 2 officers. Let them know. Let me know. Don't be afraid to reach out to us personally. Discord, in-game, whatever the case might be. We bring them in for that first raid. So, if we recruit somebody over the weekend, we recruited somebody over the weekend, hypothetically, we would talk to them, kind of give them a quick spiel, bring them in for tomorrow's raid. And then after the raid, I would generally go, hey, Hannah, can you stick around for a couple of minutes after the raid? And that's where we go, look, here is our raid. Is there anything that you don't like? Any issues that you see? Here are some things that we do or don't like. Is there anything we can do? And we just talk to them and we get a feeling for them. And I think that has helped. It's a new thing. We started it in Legion. It's a new thing in that regards. And I think it does a really good job of personalizing your encounter with your leadership. When you first enter into a new job, and Hannah, you know what I'm talking about, a new command, you get orders to go to this different unit, or imagine, I'll claim ignorance on this, maybe a new precinct. You said you were a cop for 15 years. The worry and the concern of I'm not fitting in, which is of course natural. I don't know my command. I don't know, the CO, the XO, the sergeant, if you're a police officer, again, ignorance. Not knowing these guys is nerve-wracking, and I don't want to say scary, but it's one of those things where you don't know what to expect. So to pull these guys aside and go, look, we're people too, we're raiders too. Is there anything that you don't like? Is there something that you want to comment on? And I think we also make you, the new guy, hopefully feel like you are as equal to and have almost as much of a say in guild and raiding issues and concerns as the guy that's been here for 10 years. Now, again, because of the way we do the rank structure, as the new guy, if you're not a raid member, which is one of our ranks, or higher, obviously my officers and myself, if we have a vote to change raid times, raid days, etc., I don't really care what your vote is. You've been here a week, I really don't care. But I do want to know your comments on it. And that's just a way we've done it. I mean, after 2 weeks, you would get promoted, or, we would kick you out. So I don't think it's that bad. But I think we personalize the officers. We give them a chance to speak as new people. And I think that really helps for retaining them. And we're constantly in contact. We push Discord, talk to each other in Discord, figure things out. And we've had guys that have gone, look, why is my DPS like this? Is there anything that I can do? Or, hey, look, Hannah, it really, it really disrupts my rotation when you do this. Like, can we fix this? And people work that crap out, and it's really cool. So, Hannah, you keep going. And you said, an interesting theory I have. This is from a combination of military experience and being a cop for so long. And I love this. The theory sounds like it comes from a terrible person, but it's actually uncomfortably sound in logic. So the theory is based on the premise that people in general are liars. Yeah, that is when I get a new technician. There are 2 lessons that I teach every single technician, anybody in the IT field that I work with that is new. Users are stupid. They click on random stuff. They don't write down error messages. They do the same crap that's causing a crash without realizing it. And the second one is users lie. I don't know how my laptop screen got cracked. Well, if you dropped it is a bigger difference than you, trying to clean it and you push too hard. One of them, you can have more than just an LCD screen that's jacked up, stuff like this. But you said, the theory is based on the premise that people in general are liars. Hannah, I agree. Not all to the same degree, mind you, but liars nonetheless. So we incorporate this theory into our recruiting, and what we've come up with is a research-based model of recruitment. So for example, let's say I'm the recruiter for your guild. I browse the forums, post on the forums, run LFR, pug normal runs, specifically looking for people that aren't in a guild or that aren't in a good guild. Let's say over 10 days you find 3 potentials, and these are new recruits. Before speaking to them for the first time, I research them. Armory alone will show me their gear, raid progress, achievements, etc. Now, armed with this basic info, I try to find logs. Then I finally talk to the 3 candidates. I take them through what is essentially a mini personality exam to determine if I think they would be a fit for the group. Upon passing all of these initial metrics, they then get in Discord with all of the officers, a meet and greet of sorts. If after our Discord conversation, the recruit is still feeling it and all the officers are feeling it, then they do a trial run. So what I'm saying is, and I actually do recruit for my guild, I put recruits through 4 or 5 stages of information gathering, analysis, and team meeting before they ever get a guild invite. This method, realistically, it takes me about 30 minutes per recruit, and it also helps a ton with retention. Anywho, now that I'm on, I'm the one rambling on. Great videos as always. Share your thoughts, feedback, if you're interested. So I really don't understand people's ignorance when it comes to the amount of data that is collected in this game. You're absolutely right that things like the WoW Armory, WoW Progress, all these different Raider.io, and all these different third-party websites, and even the WoW Armory, this first-party Blizzard website that you can go to and look up everything about a person. You can get a very clear history of, have they really done Mythic, etc. You go to WoW Progress and see, okay, did they just get a Mythic kill Jaden kill, or did they, was their progress obviously due to them paying for that kill, or them progressing through with the guild? How many guilds have they been with? And of course, these third-party websites aren't 100% accurate, but yes, absolutely. People are going to bullshit you. If you recruit and you believe everything that a new recruit says to you, very foolish. And you have so many available tools to dig in and go, oh, this dude's not as legit as he says he is. Now, you have to kind of figure out what you want to do from there. Is it worth looking at this person and saying, hey, they're not as legit as they say they are, and continue to recruit them or keep them around or push them away? I think your method of doing a little bit of research, 30 minutes per person, talking to them, etc. I think that's an amazing way to do it. I think that's a very solid way of doing it. One thing that I've tried to mention several times in my videos, and it's something that I wish a lot of people would realize, is when you join a guild, and I said this, I think, in the last video, when you join a guild, you aren't just being evaluated by the guys in the guild you just joined. You should also be evaluating them. So I, as a potential recruit to Hannah's guild, she may be talking to me, hey, what are you looking for in a raider, and how do you do things, and blah, 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 blah. I should also be asking them questions and figuring out, do I like how she's talking to me? Is she being cool? Is she being chill? Is she being hardcore? Is she going to let shit slide? Is she not going to let shit slide? Does she let, crap slide with her raiders? How am I going to be treated as a person, as a raider, etc.? And that's what I wish a lot of players realized is, I guess there seems to be a section of the player base that is content with shitty guilds and shitty groups. And there's so much better out there. And you can find a solid guild, somebody, a group of people that really care. Obviously, from reading this, Hannah cares about her guild and the people that are brought into it. Same with my guild. Hopefully the same with a good vast majority of guilds. Just, you got to look out for it. And I think this method of evaluating and researching before you even decide, hey, let's bring this dude in, you can tell a lot. I think it's a pretty solid way of doing things. That, I think, is pretty much it as far as questions go. If you guys have anything else, please feel free to leave a comment in this video. You can email me, emails in the About section. Send me a message on YouTube, whatever you guys want to do. If you didn't like this video, because apparently 2 people gave it a thumbs down, at least the last time I checked, let me know why. I can't improve unless you guys let me know what I'm doing wrong, unless you just don't like me, and that's cool too. But until next time, guys, I'll see ya.